It is Thursday, 12 o'clock, and that means it's time for Event Domination. We go live every single Thursday sharing our tips, tricks, pains, everything to do with launching and running our conference in the hope that we will help you do the same thing with your event. And actually, funny enough, I was going through Insta a couple days ago, and I came across a reel by Alex Hormozi. And guess what he was talking about? How everybody should run an event. So I think we may clip that. I saved the link and maybe we'll give it to Ravi to put into an ad or something. So yeah, I just thought it was very timely. So today we're talking about tech tips to help you run a better event. As gone are the days of everybody showing up and you got to cross people off the list, physically with a pen or highlight their name and then run everything off of paper. There's a lot of tech out there that can really help you optimize your event, run things a lot more efficiently, but more importantly, collect more data so then you can improve your event the next year. So I'm just going to walk you through just rapid fire a whole bunch of different tech that we use on our end and how you can deploy it with what you're doing, whether you're running a conference or a workshop, anything like that. Okay. So let's start with the customer, the attendee experience stuff first, and then I'll get into some other sections. So with the attendee, a couple things. Number one would be registration. There's a lot of good tech with registration. We have one company that we don't mention their name anymore because the whole thing crashed when we had thousands of people trying to sign up. It's he who shall not be named. But we have moved on to greener pastures, and we found some great platforms that we use. Now, why is registration really important, and why do you want to collect as much data as possible? Well, and it kind of ties into your CRM. So let me do both at the same time here. When somebody registers, you want to collect as much as you can up front so you don't have to chase, because chasing is just a major pain in your butt and it's going to cost you a lot in terms of man hours. And if you're paying somebody $30 an hour, whatever it is, it adds up when they could be focusing on more important stuff. So you want to collect as much up front. So if you have breakout sessions, collect what breakout session they want at the point of registration. If you are offering food options, collect those at the point of registration. If they want a different track, whatever it is, collect that at the point of registration so you don't have to go back to them and just flog the list to get the data you need. Do it up front. Best piece of advice I can give you. Now, how does this tie into your registration platform? You want a registration platform that allows it to be done simply and easily. So you want to be able, because you have to take that data and then you're going to probably use Zapier or something and zap it to a whole bunch of different spots. So it has to be easily collectible and digestible. And what you want to do, you want to feed it into your CRM where you're tracking all of your registrants. Because why do you want to track all of those different things? Well, let's say, for instance, you have a whole lot of you have a bunch of vegetarians coming for food. Well, if you're able to segment your list now with all the different registration variables, now you can send a message directly to the vegetarian saying, hey, you're marked as vegetarian, go to this spot to get your vegetarian meal. Perfect, right? Or if you have two different tracks, maybe you're going to send different messaging to one track versus the other one. Maybe they get different reminders. Maybe on their schedule in the app, they see different things than the other ones. If you're not collecting this up front at the point of registration, and if you're running a system or a platform that doesn't allow you to collect all that and segment, your efficiency goes way down. As with us, we want to hit different people with different messaging, present different offers, have different schedules, highlight different speakers. And plus, if you do sponsorship, your sponsors are going to want to be able to get in touch with different people depending on what segment they're in, because that's going to align better with their avatar and who they're looking for. So the registration platform and also the CRM, huge. Now, going on the CRM, you need to track everything. So now with CRMs, you can run all of your SMS reminders through your CRM. You can send all your emails through your CRM. You can basically do everything. All your notes, if you're running your sales team that's selling your tickets, they're going to track everything. You can move people through the pipeline from lead, hey, I'm interested in possibly coming to your event, all the way through to qualified, disqualified, interested, not purchased yet, they've purchased, they've attended. Your CRM will do all of that. If you're running a larger event, I would say even, over 150 people, you need a CRM. Because what that's going to allow you to do is after, you're going to be able to go through and dissect, hey, what worked, what didn't? Hey, we sent out all these email reminders. Well, why did these 3 get a 25% open rate and this one got a 7%? Well, now you live and learn. But if you're not tracking it, you can't improve it. Plus, when we first started, we had SMS messaging reminders going out from one platform, emails from another one. The contacts live in another one. Number one, it was expensive. Number two, there wasn't interconnectivity, and so it just became a mess. But now that everything's under one umbrella, it's just way more efficient. So all of your staff are logged into one. Plus, when you're on site and you're helping your customers, well, now you can log in. You can pull up their info. You can see, hey, what ticket have they purchased for the past 3 years, and all of that type of stuff. So that's attendee experience for registration and then also people management. But you also want to have a really good app. And this is something, again, we had a really bad experience with one year where it basically crashed and didn't work. Now, why does an attendee really need a good app? Well, inside the venue, right? Nobody really prints those like the paper copies of programs anymore. Number one, once they're printed, you can't change it. And there's always last minute changes, rescheduling. So you want something that's able to ebb and flow with the event. And an app allows you to do that. Also, you have a lot more functionality that you can give people with the app. There's gamification, so you can give attendees points for doing certain things. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, maybe you do want to incentivize people to visit if you have a vendor area, if you want them to sign up for something. You want to incentivize them to do so by giving them points with the chance of winning a prize. Or network, hey, scan 50 other people's badges. Number one, it's good for the attendee because now you're forcing them to talk with people and network. But number two, you're going to be able to identify who's actually doing the stuff you want them to. So now you can hit them up with different offers and everything. And number three, you can reward people for actually doing what's good for them by rewarding them with prizes. So gamification is really big, but also with mapping. The app, you can have an interactive map. Hey, you are here. Hey, this is where I want to go. If you have a large exhibitor floor, an exhibition area, hey, I want to find XYZ company or Acme company. You find them on the app. You say, hey, where do I go? And it maps it out for you on the floor. Or you can search up companies by category or by name, and you can help find them. You can have messaging before the event so people can set up meetings. You can have messaging at the event. There's even apps that allow you to schedule meetings with different people in certain areas. That's awesome. Plus, if you're talking with somebody, you can scan their badge if you have a QR code, and your contact info is automatically transferred over to them. So so many times, nobody really has business cards anymore. But it's like, oh, nice to meet you, blah, blah. Oh, we should talk more. Absolutely. Hey, what's your card? Oh, crap, I don't have one here. Let me write down your name, and then it's loud, and you're trying to type, and then you're getting all that stuff. Instead, it's like, boop, you scan it, and then automatically, now you have their info, and you guys exchange info. Perfect. That makes it easy for your attendee. Plus, from the ownership perspective of you running the conference or workshop, now you can track, hey, who were my most engaged attendees? Well, which things got more engagement than the other things? And then you can say, hey, well, these exhibitors got way more traffic than these exhibitors. Why? Now you can investigate. Was it the map? Was it placement? Maybe all these exhibitors in one area saw less traffic. If so, you improve for next year. But maybe it had nothing to do with that, and it was what the actual exhibitors were doing. But now, if you identify your top 5%, 10% of exhibitors, now you can go back and use those people as examples for what other exhibitors want to do if they want to get good results. Like you have to have the data, you have to have this stuff in place to be able to do that. Okay, so we've got attendees, then you've got your app. Now, moving on. The next thing you want to do is in your advertising and your marketing, you want to be able to track things, because we know that if you just run ads on Facebook, YouTube, Google Display, Instagram, TikTok, the tracking's not very good. Sometimes it can be 30% effective, sometimes it can be 60% effective. Generally with us, it's quite poor. So we're running about 40%. So you need to find other tools and tech to help you with your ad tracking. Because if you're spending as much money as we do on our ads, you want to make sure that it's dialed in, because if not, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars. So a couple of things you can use. Like Hyros is a great tool for tracking. There's Stape.io. There's a whole bunch of different tracking tools, but I would suggest you start with Hyros. Now, what this does is it allows you to track, okay, well, the customer journey. This person clicked on this ad, then this ad, and then this ad, and then they converted after clicking the link on this email. So now you can see the customer journey from somebody going from interested to a purchase ticket. And the big learning that we had from when we started doing this is, hey, like we actually find people will click on our event months in advance. Then they'll click on like 6 to 8 other ads as they're snooping around, and then they'll generally convert into a ticket sale at a much later date. And then so now we have the data on, hey, if we generate a lead at this time, we know X% will convert here, X% will convert at this period of time, and typically, at this period of time, it will take somebody 2 weeks on average to go from first click to purchase, or whatever it is. But if you don't have this data, you're flying blind, and you have no idea what ads are working, what ads aren't working. Maybe you get 80% of all your first clicks from this ad. Maybe they don't purchase from it, but that gets people interested in your event. And then they're buying through email or text, whatever it is. So you need to track this type of stuff. So you're going to use pixels from the native platforms. So like Facebook, Google, TikTok, whatever it is. But then you'll also use Hyros tracking or Stape tracking, whichever one you end up using, to really fill in a lot of the missing gaps that Facebook and Google have, right? So that's the ads and the marketing tracking, okay? Now, the other thing that we have to keep in mind with events is comms, communication. Communication is key. And especially when you have a large venue. So we take up hundreds of thousands of square feet. It takes time for somebody to move from point A over here to point B over here, especially when you have a massive crowd. It takes a lot of time. So you have to have solid communication. Now, if you just go old-fashioned radio, number one, depending on the venue, you have connectivity issues where the signal gets lost and people can't hear it. Number two, it's really loud. So sometimes you can't hear if you're in the middle of thousands of people. So you want to have some type of messaging where you can go. Like you're going to have Wi-Fi in the space, but quick messaging, whether you use WhatsApp or Slack, whatever it is, you need some type of text messaging system to connect everybody. As oftentimes it's easy just to send a quick text, but if you're in a big venue and cell phone service isn't great, depending on construction, well, if you're connected to the Wi-Fi, now you can just message back and forth. So that is huge for communications. So yeah, have the radios, have the walkie-talkies, whatever. Just make sure it fits well with the venue and you test beforehand. But then you also want some type of text messaging where you're messaging back and forth with people, and you can actually go with text. And then circling back with registration, I missed one. And you want to have an easy to use registration process. And this is where tech can really help. Because you always want to have your backup plan, your paper copies of all the attendees, all the ticketers, just in case the registration system fails, which you should plan for. But you also want to make it really easy. So this past year, we started using iPads for registration. So you have all your iPad stations up, you enter in your code, you scan your ticket, it prints out your badge, your code, so you can scan and everything. It just makes it so much easier. So, and then obviously we have those at the registration booth as well, but you want to make sure that you're using tech to basically streamline. And to be honest, like, if somebody has a choice of going to the bank, waiting in line, talking with a real teller, or just going to the instant ATM, the instant teller, what are they going to use? Well, they're going to use the instant teller because nobody wants to talk with people. Like, you don't want to wait in line if you don't have to and deal with people. So the more that you can streamline it, automate things, use tech just to make people's lives easier as soon as they walk in, the better. Okay? And then in terms of communication, how do you communicate with your attendee? Now, this is where the app can come into play. Maybe you'll send push notifications through the app. So, hey, you signed up for this session, reminder, it's happening in half an hour or 20 minutes, or here, 10-minute reminder, you have to be here for a ride over to the next venue, whatever it is. So pushing notifications through the app. But what you want to do is you want to preload and time those messages into the app, into the sequence. So that way you'll have one person who has the run of show. And, if you get behind schedule, you'll hold things back. And then as soon as it's the right time to hit, you press submit. And then boom, all the notifications go out through the app. Now, if you're not using the app, how are you going to communicate? Is it going to be through emails? Is it going to be through SMS blasts at the event? You have to plan all of this stuff out in advance and use tech. Okay. So like the apps make it really, really good. Just get a good one because like I said, we've had a bad experience with another one and it did not work well at all. Okay. So just focus on attendees, their experience, the ads and the marketing. You have to track everything. And then comms. How will your team communicate with the rest of the team and convey messages in an orderly fashion? So that's my advice in terms of tech. Now, obviously, we can geek out and go on forever, but those are the big three wins that you can have instantaneously, immediately, if you just start looking for tech options. All right, so I go live every single Thursday, so I'll see you next Thursday. And until then, have a great time, have a great weekend, and then I'll see you Monday.